middle of the night. This was the Lamut, the main supply craft for the Soviet fishing fleet in the Bering Sea. On board this boat, an armed party of Coast Guardsmen, making sure that the Lamut did not try to get away. The Russians had tried once, but were stopped by the Coast Guard cutter Storis, which had threatened to fire a shot. After docking, the captain of the Storis joked a little, but neither he nor other Coast Guardsmen said much of substance. Well, as I understand, there has been precious little information about the seizure of the Russian ships. The Coast Guard says it doesn't want to prejudice any case against the Soviets. The captain of the Lamut and the master of the Soviet fleet were arrested. They were confined to the Storis. They are accused of conducting illegal support activities for fishing boats in U.S. waters. Exactly what that means is not clear. Until something is resolved, the 300 crew men and women of the Soviet ships remain in quarantine, unable to set foot on the island. Don Oliver, NBC News, Kodiak.
Living in the great big way, mama.
Yeah, we were out on patrol, and of course we always got to do the north route because she had the icebreaker bow on. And so we're headed out after we made a stop in Dutch Harbor. We were headed on out towards Kodiak, and we knew one of the areas we were going to hit was St. Paul Island. So we made the turn and everything, and I happened to be up on deck, and the guy, one of our from CIC, said, "Hey, we've got 2 ships out here on radar." And I said, "Okay, fine." So we'll go ahead and we checked it out. Well, it was 2 Russian, there was a 500-foot Lamut, and a trawler, 300 and something. Anyway, they're transferring cargo in an illegal zone. And I nailed them because I went up there and I plotted, made sure in CIC that we had everything down on paper. Called the captain, today we got 2 of them out here, let's go. So he comes up there, so we seized them. Well, we happened to be in one of those cones of silence, where you can't transmit in and you can't receive, either in or out. So we take off, and we're doing the seizure. And so we went over to arrest the captain, and which was rather interesting, When I found my CO with a 45, looking at him, and of course my job was up on the catwalk, and I'm down up on top here, making sure that nobody does my captain in. And of course we got some, all this Lamut, almost 500 foot. I mean, Storis was only 230, 237. So we're sitting here looking at all these people, and so we arrested, got the CO off. We took off the party person, who was one of the other officers, and they applauded us when we took him off, but then they weren't about to have the CO. And their XO was an ex-Russian Navy, and he was tough. I mean, he was tough. Anyway, so we're all tied up there, and finally, the XO on the Lamut, engine's all ahead full, and the gangways are past. We had a gangway across there. It gets all ripped off, and it's hanging down there by a chain. And we take off. We didn't know where we were going. We had a boarding party of 5, and they've got a crew of 500. And so I just tried to tell my kids that didn't know from squat what to do. Had to oh man, I'm going to be a boarding member, carrying an M16, and they're just sitting there having just, we're going to go ahead and really show them. And I had a chief, one of my chiefs was on board, And I said, you look and you tell me how we stop this ship if we have to in an emergency. So he wormed around. But anyway, I had no idea where we were headed. Like I told my, later on, I told everybody, I said, yeah, I was checking to see how many dollars I had so I could change it into rubles in case I ended up back in Vladivostok. You know, I didn't know where we were going. Well, the mothership of the whole fleet was up in the ice. That's where they were headed. They couldn't talk to him, but they knew where they were, so that's where he was headed. And so we get there. Well, this thing was 900 and some odd feet long. I mean, it was a big one. And they're like almost 1,000 people on that one. And it just so happened that on board there was the Deputy Minister of Fisheries for Russia, his first business trip once he'd been elected into this office. And here he is, he's got this international incident going on. And of course, Nixon's trying to make his first trip to Russia at the same time. So that through Washington, D.C. has been enough for him. So here we are. They can't hear anything. We can't hear anything. And of course, we had the old handset walkie-talkies. And so Perry calls me, he says, we got to go ahead and get rid of some of this communication. He says, make sure that, there are no antennas. And I looked over and I says, Perry, I said, we've got an antenna out of every porthole on this ship that they're all using. I said, it's him. I don't only have 5 people here. There's no way we're going to do that. So anyway, so the deputy comes in and I just don't know what we're going to do. We can't communicate. And I said, yeah, I know, we got the same problem. And finally I said, okay. I said, hey, Perry, let's tell them we got a message. We're supposed to go to ADAC. He says, hey, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, go ahead, we're going to do it. So I go down there and I get a hold of someone. I said, I need to see the minister. So the minister comes over and I said, we got a message. We're supposed to go to ADAC. He said, okay. He didn't know from straight up what was going on. He said, okay. So he said, can we get water on board the Lamut before we go? I said, sure. Well, of course, and I'm hearing all this around us that on the mothership down there, they're just saying, why don't you just throw them over the side? There's only 5 of them, throw them over the side, And he said, no. So everything went well when we took off and went to ADAC. And then from ADAC, we all went to Coast Guard Center. C-130 from Kodiak came out to ADAC, and we flew to Anchorage. And so we're there, and that's where we had the case. And of course, I had to go ahead and they refuted the charges. And by that time, we had crew came out from Juneau, and a deputy ambassador for Russia flew in all the way from Washington to Anchorage. So he kind of took charge of the Russian side of it. So we're there in the courtroom, and they said, no, that's not, what did you see? And I said, I saw, and we had a rig for cargo, and I went over and I picked the rig up there, and I said, we went like this, and then we went like this, and I transferred the little block that they had there for demonstration purposes from one ship to the other. And they said, no. We were only going right from front to back on one ship. Well, it just so happened one of the officers that came out from Juneau was Lithuanian, and he spoke the language. And he, that, of course, and he wrote. So he said, let me see your logs. So we got the logs, and so he just talked to him like we're talking right here. He says, it shows right here there, you were going from one ship to the other. And the ambassador says, can we have a moment? So they went out of the room, and about 15 minutes later, they came back in, and they said, no contendere, no contest. And the master of the Lamut got 25 years in Siberia.
Whoa.
And the captain of the Kodiak, which was the 300 and some odd foot trawler, he got 15. Wow. Only because they got caught. That was written with the whole thing, was that they got caught. I don't know what they did to the Communist Party. Go who was there. So anyway, that was it. Of course, we flew back to we flew into Kodiak on the C-130, and the Storis made its way back to from Adak. They had to, they got themselves back there. But anyway, it was, of course, it was a big homecoming, and I've got all the newspaper articles that were in the mirror from that time, And we had a big party down at a thing called Salty's. It's now Henry's. Anyway, which we ate that last night. It was great. It was kind of fun walking in there, and I told Joey, I said, there's no change. Booths and tables are just like it was back 49 years ago inside there.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but anyway, it was really kind of, so that's my big thing. Of course, then my kids and that whole thing comes up to me, hey, Dad, or hey, Grandpa, you gotta tell them how you got captured by the Russians. Oh, come on,
It brought back a lot of memories, good memories. I don't have any bad memories about my time here in Kodiak. So yeah, it was kind of looking forward to see the base.
Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son?
Kind of look at the dock where our ship was tied up.
And where have you been, my darling young one? I stumbled down the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways.
Almost 50 years, so just the idea that I got a chance to come back was really good. Home base, it was good, Other than the interview with the captain of the base there, everything was fine, But it was fun seeing the helm and the compass from the Storis and the sign. Of course, them bawling like a baby when Tuck went and handed me that plaque, and which was really pretty special.
For you to take home. It's all laser cut and engraved. It's engraved on the back. And we just wanted to have something to cherish to take home.
Well, I already did.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah, no, it was great being on the base. Seeing some of the things, kind of missing not seeing some of the things, kind of would have been nice if the old infirmary was still there, where Elizabeth was born. That would have probably been that, and the Tiny Bear School, both of those, that would have really made it the base part complete. To me, it looked like it's bigger than what it was, and obviously, as they tell us, it's the largest Coast Guard base that they have is here in Kodiak.
Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son? And where have you been, my darling young one? I stumbled down the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. It's a high, and it's a high, and it's hard, and it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall.
As you've had time to sit and maybe reflect the last few days, has there been anything else that's kind of come to your mind?
Yeah, there have. This is going to be a hard one. The importance of family. And all my grandkids, especially those of you that are married, are all going to remember I asked you this question. Are you marrying your best friend? And for me, even after 62 years, I am so grateful that I married my best friend. And I've thought a lot about that. You know, I miss not having her here with me. But the importance of family, you know, and how grateful I am to have the gospel in my life, which I wouldn't have if it weren't for my best friend. She's kind of my, I consider her my angel that was sent to the earth to watch over me.
Oh, what did you see, my blue-eyed son? And what did you see, my darling young one? Saw a newborn baby with wolves around me. Saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw 10,000 talkers whose tongues were all broken. It's a high, it's a high, it's a high, and it's a high, it's a high, it's gonna fall. And what did you hear, my blue-eyed son? And what did you hear, my darling young one? Heard the sound of thunder that roared out a warning. I heard one person starve and many people laughing. I heard 100 drummers whose hands were all blazing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall.
And I love each one of all of you that are watching this. Just know how much Grandpa loves all of you. You know, it's not every day somebody can go ahead and tell somebody else, yeah, I've got 44 grandchildren and I've got 47 great-grandchildren with one more on the way. Okay, how's that?
That was fantastic.
Think about you, all of you here all the time. That, yeah, you're pretty special. You know, it's strange, and you don't realize this until years go by, but you know, your kids become, you know, you kill for them, literally. And then, but then when you become a grandparent, you kill for them. But the problems come up as a grandparent is that you might sometimes want to kill your kids because they're making that grandchild that you are is so precious to you. You're making them feel bad, and they're not supposed to feel bad. It's like, you know, your kids are not supposed to feel bad, you know, especially when they're little. And it gets even the same when you become a great-grandparent.
Understand that, I mean, you know.
A legend. You don't meet a legend every single day.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, I'm not necessarily a legend. You
As
know,
far as we're concerned.
Yeah, well,
As far as we're concerned, we
Well,
do what
they-
we do because y'all did what you did. So.
yeah, but you know what? All that newspaper articles and everything, I was only mentioned in there one time.
Not only a legend, but a humble one. That's right.